Let's create a budget. Let's get out of debt. Let's build wealth. Guys, welcome back to the channel. So if you haven't watched the first part of this, the working model part 1, you can watch that. But so basically, I'm just going to start from the beginning here. So I'm going to go over my thought process and design when building this working model. So, with any velocity, infinite banking, the whole wealth building, it all boils down to your cash flow. So in order to get your cash flow is your income minus your expenses. That's your cash flow. So that tells you how much money you have to do velocity. Well, it's what stays in to the debt tool. So how do we get our cash flow, right? We have our income. So I needed to make, a spot for income. And then, the three major numbers, income, expense, and cash flow. I thought in the design, it's like, okay, you really kind of need to see that no matter which page you are on. So I basically copied this and made sure that that was at the top of every page so that you never have to flip back and kind of see what it was those numbers were. So in order the income is easy enough. Well, your income, you need to literally go back through, pull up your bank statement or wherever you get your checks deposited to. So the design of this, okay, I'm gonna have to break this down step by step because that's what it's called, step by step. So let's break it down. Okay, right? We start with income. So income, obviously everybody's different. There's people who are salaried who has basically the same pay every month. There's people who are hourly whose check is never the same. I mean, you're always there. You have a little bit of overtime. You have, it could be a minute, it could be an hour. Checks kind of fluctuate over and over. So, I had the income field right here. Entering this income right here will change it on every page. So every page it changes it. So it flows throughout the whole model, the working model. So as I make these videos, I'm gonna have to break this down so that because a lot of people never really explain this stuff. So let me break this down. Starting with the first step. The first step is you're going to enter your monthly income. If your income, if you really need to spend time, like none of this is going to work unless you spend the time. It takes time. You have to decide to do this. So you're gonna, you can't just throw out numbers. Do a little research. Literally open your account, log into your account, and look at your checks. So you want to do an average, like, if there's residue or leftover, it doesn't matter. It's all going to factor into this. So let's say that you get paid bi-weekly, okay? And your check is $2,200 and, you have another check that's $1,800. So all of this, right, it depends on you. It comes down to your accuracy and how much you want to do. So this right here, right, if you take this total, it's 4,000. So it's $4,000. But if you want a more accurate picture, you can look back 2 more months and say, this, you want to take an average. So if you're only using 2 months, if you're only using 2 paychecks, so 1 month's worth to get your average, then your income would be 4,000. So 4,000 would be your income. But if you want it to be more accurate, say that your checks are really fluctuating, and let's just say you make 1,900 here, and then you make, 2,100, right? So you want to, or in order of taking an average, you want to kind of go with the lowest amount. So, if you're looking at 1 month's worth, 2 checks, then if you take your lowest check amount, so 1,800, it's, I would use more than 2 months. I mean, 2 paychecks. I would use probably 6. Use, if you get paid bi-weekly, use 3 months. Take a three month and look at what your lowest was. You kind of know whether or not you're going to be working overtime or something like that. But let's say, you got 24, and let's just say you have one low month and it was 1,700, right? So you're looking at this, it's like, okay, 1,700 is probably the lowest you're going to get, but that's kind of rare. So I would probably take, 1,850. Just kind of look at your checks. Don't go to your highest one, maybe even 1,900 since you got quite a few. So then you would take 1,900 times 2, since you're looking bi-weekly, and that'll give you 3,800. So your income would be 3,800. Now, if you were taking an average of this, it's going to be 1,200. So it'll be divided by however many checks you had there, and then you would have to, you're taking a monthly average, then you would times it by 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this divided by 6, and then since you're doing a monthly average, you would times that by 2, 4,033, and I would be okay with that. An average of 6 or 3 month average, 4,033. So you can make it like 4,025. That way, it's pretty accurate. I mean, it's gonna even out. So it's, each one of these details, again, it comes down to who you are, but the more time you put into this, the more efficient it's going to be. Like when I was talking about how, I think it was in the last video, how I talk about an engine, like it, depending on like the fuel or how clean it is or what you put into it. So if you want to do this, if you want to build wealth and you want to create a legacy and get out of a certain situation you're currently in, it's going to take work, just like everything else in life. You got to spend the time and you got to work on this. So whether you do it on Excel or whether you're writing it down, just take a 3 month average. Let that be the set standard. Take a 3 month average. Literally open your checking account. Don't guess. Open your checking account. Go through your look, as so you can sort it maybe by deposits coming in or something like that, and take your last 6 checks if you're bi-weekly, or 12 checks if you get paid weekly. Take an average of it. Use that average, round down to the nearest 5 or 10, and then, enter that amount as your monthly income. One other thing I need to touch on is if you're deciding that, hey, I want to use velocity banking, infinite banking, I want to use this strategy, I want to use this model to get out of my certain situation, to start digging my way out of debt and to start creating wealth, then you need to understand that, we're using velocity banking, we're using a debt tool to help us accelerate this. Then if you have income being directed in different directions, you need to make sure that all income is going into one account. So if you have multiple, checking accounts, something like that, make sure that all income is going into one account. The next thing you need to do is, if you have like savings, if you have like money going aside to savings, well, we'll get into that and when I get into the bills part of it. So, income, first step, and let's make I'll just use this settings page, and we're going to do a step-by-step. Step 1, figure out income. And this video basically shows you how to do it. Take 3 month average, regardless of how you get paid, take a 3 month average of your total bills, enter that as your income. Don't forget that, and then don't forget to redirect all money into one account. And I'm going to leave it at that for this. So step 1, figure out your income. Guys, thank you for watching this video. We'll go into it, the next step in the next video.